I do declare, welcome to another episode of The Professional Fan. I am your host, The Professional Fan, Mike Antonace, and I have been gone many moons I've been gone and tending the farm. I was raising cattle. I was making mint juleps and shrimp and grits by the fire. And the Cleveland Browns have been farming themselves for the past 2 days, 48 hours, 2 nights to fix their O-line. I can't keep doing the voice too long, but welcome to the new episode of The Professional Fan. I, again, am your host, Mike Antonace. Can't do that Southern voice for too long. Probably doesn't even sound good. Probably sounds better to me, myself, and I. But yeah, guys, we're in the thick of it now. Free agency, the draft, everything. I've been hard at work with some videos. The first thing I wanted to do, free agent targets. And did the Browns get any of my free agent targets? Nope. So that video would have not mattered anyway. So we're going to get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. The Browns going heavy in the trenches. Heavy in the trenches. Quick bout of news, if you guys aren't locked in on Twitter or X, whatever the hell you call it, like I am, and I say locked in, I mean more addicted. But the Ravens backed out of their deal with the Las Vegas Raiders. There's going to be some repercussions from that, of which I don't know. It doesn't happen often, especially not a blockbuster trade like that. So we shall see where that goes. I hope it fucks Baltimore 10 ways from Sunday, but that's just me. But yeah, the Browns. A lot of great signings, a good trade involved. So four O-linemen and a linebacker is what we've done so far. Wish there was a receiver in the mix. Maybe there isn't a trade. Don't know. There's whispers, but those can't be trusted all the time. First and foremost, traded for Texans right tackle Titus Howard. Very, very productive tackle, in my opinion. Saw Texas fans were very upset to see him go. Played a little bit of right guard and right tackle last year for the Texans. I keep wanting to say Tennessee. I don't know why. The Texans, Houston. He kept playing right tackle, right guard. Very productive for the Texans. Allowed no sacks. Was one of the better tackles in pass pro. Needs to get a little bit better at the run blocking, but Titus Howard, very, very productive. He's a spot starter at right tackle. You could slot him in there and he'll hold that line down. Easy peasy. Next, following when people thought we were going to get Tyler Linderbaum, we didn't. We signed Zion Johnson, former first-round pick Zion Johnson, who plays primarily left guard, I believe. And Zion Johnson, up and down career so far, but he's very young, only 26 years of age. And he really started to turn it on midway through last season for the Chargers. From all intents and purposes, it sounded like Jim Harbaugh didn't even want to let him go. But money played a factor into it, and they thought maybe they could use a higher pick on a guard that they picked out. So a lot of upside with Zion Johnson. Run blocking, again, not really great run blocking PFF stats, but very good in pass pro. And like I said, if you look just at his second half numbers, he actually did very well. His second half of last season's numbers, as far as run blocking and pass pro, are like night and day from the rest of his numbers. So a lot of potential for Zion. I can see it going pretty well for the Browns. Warthop is going to hopefully shore him up. Also, we signed a linebacker, Quincy Williams, former All-Pro linebacker. Obviously, we lost Devin Bush in free agency to the Chicago Bears. And instead, to replace him, we sign a former All-Pro linebacker, Quincy Williams. A little bit of a steal, too. I think it's like 2 years, $17 million or something like that. super productive player, had a little bit of a down year for the Jets, but the Jets just had a down year all around. I mean, nobody looked good on that team. I think that's just the whatever's going on in New York. I don't even know. I don't know if Jets fans know. I mean, if somebody understands the pain of a Browns fan, just dye your brown jersey green, and that's basically what's going on over there in New York. So Quincy Williams, insane player, insanely talented player. Hopefully he has a bounce back couple of years here in Cleveland. We re-signed Tevin Jenkins. Didn't start. I think he only had like 2 starts last year for the Browns. Really weird that he only had 2 starts. He was great for Chicago. I think he can turn it around and actually be a starting right guard for the Cleveland Browns under new management. I like this re-signing. I kind of expected this. Me and Joseph actually talked about it at the beginning of the offseason, how we both kind of expected Wyatt to move on and them to just re-sign Tevin. Glad that they kind of went with that because while he was in Chicago, he was one of the best guards in the NFL. Hopefully he can get back to it. And then shortly after he was released from the Packers, Tevin's brother, Elgton Jenkins, center for the Packers, but also played right guard and left guard for the Packers. He was all over that line for them because Green Bay has no shortage of O-line issues. Very productive center, former Pro Bowl center and a former Pro Bowl guard. Really good at calling out spots, picking out rushers. He'll definitely a spot starter. He apparently didn't pass some sort of physical with Green Bay, so hopefully he can get back to form. I think they'll use the offseason to do that for him. I just think for Green Bay, it didn't make sense for them to re-sign him because of that, because it would put in work and they could probably draft somebody, but very good veteran starter at center. And yeah, guys, just like that, the Cleveland Browns have 4 starting O-linemen and a linebacker. That's just like the sugar cube in the coffee. You know what I mean? Like 4 new starting O-linemen. I thought this would be a work in progress that might take a season or 2 to get right. But let's go over the contracts because these aren't like spot fixes. Zion Johnson signed a 3-year, multi-million-dollar deal. Titus Howard, once he was trained, signed a 3-year, multi-million-dollar deal. Elgton Jenkins signed a 2-year, multi-million-dollar deal. And Tevin Jenkins' contract is to be determined. It hasn't been made public yet, but I'm sure it's for, at the very minimum, 2 years, maybe more. Probably 2 years because they'll see how he does this season, and then that'll give them the ability to re-sign them next year. Same thing with Elgton Jenkins. I think they're just kind of going to play those by ear. But yeah, they have a lot of faith in Zion Johnson and Titus Howard specifically. Also, I totally forgot to do this. As you enter, please like, subscribe, and share. We're going to be talking about Browns free agency as much as we can. As signings, trades, all that stuff happens. Hopefully Andrew Berry has some laser eyes Andrew Berry. Hopefully he'll be showing up shortly with a wide receiver trade. I'm sure he's prowling out. You know who to call. That is Mr. Andrew Berry, laser eyes Andrew Berry. Wish I had that meme on tap, but I don't. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, really exciting start to free agency. So far, I've been pretty happy with the Cleveland Browns signings. It's not a very sexy free agency. It's not going to get someone all excited, the layman and all that stuff. But this is exactly Bond even showed some flashes. Harold Trainer Jr. is going to be a superstar. And who knows what you have in Shedeur. Hopefully that works out. Quarterback's a whole different thing. We're not going to be talking about quarterback today. But yeah, this is exactly what the Cleveland Browns needed to not only properly evaluate quarterback, but what the offense is going forward, because the offensive line was just so atrocious last season. I don't know how it could have been worse Cam Robinson was the worst tackle I think I've ever seen start a game. Jack Conklin's just too old. He can't get set. And Joel, God love him, future Hall of Famer. It looks like he's meandering on retiring, but his time looks to be up. Wyatt just wasn't the same, and center was a problem all year. Luke Whippler looked good in spots, but he's had he's had a season-ending injury every year since we drafted him. So needed a more quality starter there that's actually at least not so injury-prone. But, yeah, not a super sexy free agency, you know what I mean? But a free agency nonetheless that the Cleveland Browns needed. They needed to fix their entire O-line, and in my mind, they've at least succeeded at the attempt of fixing the entire O-line in a free agency, with left tackle being a question mark and going into the draft with 2 first-round picks and a pretty high second-round pick. So hopefully you can address the left tackle. People are saying, throwing names out there. Maybe I'll go over the names in another video. It's turning out to be a pretty solid tackle draft class. So, but yeah, so far, guys, I mean, I'd love to hear what you guys think. I know I'm going to bring my brother Joseph up here shortly, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this, but is the Cleveland Browns O-line fixed after free agency? I would say we're on the path to it. Obviously, in-game film matters, but I mean, you got quality players at every position. I think Tevin Jenkins is the biggest question mark right now. And even with him, if he can get back to the Chicago Bears, Tevin Jenkins, I think he'll be fine. He had 2 starts in a horrible system. The offensive line, nobody was playing good on that line last year. It wasn't his fault. And at times, Tevin Jenkins looked fine, So I think full offseason, knowing he's a starter, implementing the new system, also with players around him that are capable, Tevin Jenkins should be fine. He's the biggest question mark, in my opinion. Maybe there's an argument to be made that Zion Johnson might be a bit of a question mark, but he's got a ton of upside and he's only 26. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. But the rest of the signings, guys, have been great. We addressed linebacker immediately after losing Devin Bush too. So that defense is going to be insane. Quincy Williams and Carson Schwessinger next to each other. I can't wait to see that. Good luck running the ball or throwing it behind the 10-yard marker. But, yeah. Let me see. Joseph, are you ready to come up, brother man?
Yeah, I'm here.
There he is. Welcome.
Welcome on into the TPF edition of free agency. So, or the free agency edition of TPF, excuse me.
Both are correct.
Yeah, I guess either one. But I mean, appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight and subscribe, and share, all that good stuff. But I mean, I like the signings so far, Mike, in terms of they're addressing the main need, which is offensive line. You're going to win games in the trenches, and if you can't do that, you're not going to win games. So, right. I think last 2 years, the offensive line has been terrible ever since Bill Callahan left. I mean, they have, I didn't think it was crazy. I didn't think the drop off would be that bad, but
oh yeah,
they completely changed their system as they lost Bill Callahan. And when you lose Bill Callahan and then all your other coaches too that were key coaches, obviously, and you change your entire system. If Bill Callahan left and they ran the same scheme, Mike, I think they would have been okay, because I think a lot of those guys was a better group. They would have been able to hold on. But once they lost Bill Callahan and then, or didn't even try to stop him from leaving, and then they changed their whole system to this air raid attack, it was just a complete nightmare. And I mean, at one point, Mike, we had Mike Vrabel as our O-line coach at the end of the year as a defensive guy. I mean, that's how bad it was. So,
yeah.
And then last year, they just looked like a group that was beaten and old and, injured. And guys out there that just weren't very good, or didn't really fit the scheme, was all over the place. There was no identity. You had all these different quarterbacks last year. It was just a mess. So I like that they brought in some stability. They got guys who have at least produced. and or at least shown they could start in the NFL. And Titus Howard's a guy I like a lot. Right tackle. I think that's a good get there. He's solid. You can roll with him. I like the young kid Zion Williams. Is it Williamson or Williams?
I think it's Zion Johnson, isn't it?
Or Zion? I'm thinking of Zion Williamson. My bad. Yeah, Zion Johnson. Uh, yeah, Zion Johnson. I broke that down yesterday on my show. I like him a lot. I think the kid actually has a lot of upside. He was really good his rookie year, and I think since then it's been kind of okay since. I think George Warhop will definitely get the best out of him.
Yep.
The only thing I think he needs to work on is honestly, I mean, he has quick feet. He's very athletic. He has really good hand strikes. I think he needs to work on just his body placement, like in terms of his feet moving, and positioning and leverage. I think that once he cleans that up, I think he'll be as good as he wants to be, really. And he's only 26. And then I think after that, Tevin Jenkins is a guy you and I liked a lot last year. I liked when we
Yeah.
signed him. I thought it was a good signing. I thought we kind of stole him. I thought he should have played more last year, and I was screaming that last year. Put your best five out there. I thought he was one of the best five for what we had, and I thought honestly, Mike, his tape was better than some of the guys that were previously here. When he
Right.
was out there, even I mean, some of those guys we used to think were Pro Bowlers, their tape was not very good last year. And I broke down the film here; it was bad. So
Yeah.
Tevin Jenkins.
Wyatt had a very bad year.
Yeah, Wyatt was the furthest thing from the Wyatt we used, and I don't, and I feel bad for what happened to Wyatt at the end. That was wrong, but Wyatt's tape last year though was, but a lot of the games I broke down wasn't very good. None of those guys, not just Wyatt. Poach wasn't great. Petonio, he just looked older. Core Lucas, he, yeah. A lot of they just weren't very good. But Tevin Jenkins, I thought though, Mike was solid. I thought he did with a little more playing time. Excuse me, with a little more playing time in the preseason and in terms of in the earlier in the season, like really grow into a role. I think he could become something, especially with George Warhop. So I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And then the center we signed tonight, his name is what's his name?
Elchton Jenkins.
Elchton Jenkins. Yeah. I couldn't remember the first name. It was Jenkins. Yeah, Elchton Jenkins. I like him a lot. Another solid center. He's proven with Green Bay. So I think you got to fill that spot there in the middle. They did that. So I mean, I like what they did, Mike. They got two athletic interior guys because Tevin Jenkins, remember when he came over, he was pretty athletic too. So you have athleticism in the middle. And you have a guy at right tackle who's proven and is solid out there you could trust. So now you got to do is fill that left tackle slot. But I mean, they've basically rebuilt their O line overnight. Now it's guys. I think are these like the biggest home run guys? No, but I think you're banking on your coach you just hired, and George Warhop, and you're banking on him to get the best out of these guys. And you're looking at,
Yeah.
I think, this coaching staff with Todd Monken, they have a lot of confidence in themselves. So you can hear it when they talk. And I think they believe that they got guys that are solid, can produce, and can bring stability, and they'll get the most out of them. And when I'm sure when they bring these guys over, they go watch a ton of tape on before they even contact them. They do a lot of scouting before free agency, even on who they like and could this guy fit. So I think whoever they brought over, or all these guys they brought over, especially on the offensive line, these are all guys they are familiar with, or they have liked or admired for a while, or
Right.
guys they think will be a good fit for them, or guys like Zion who they feel like can get a little. He still has a lot more to go. We feel like we can get the most out of him. The thing with Quincy Williams too, the linebacker, he had his best season with Mike Rutenberg as his position coach in Atlanta. So, or not Atlanta, with the Jets, excuse me. He's from Atlanta. When Ruttenberg was in, was it Rutenberg or Ruttenberg?
I think it's Rutenberg.
Rutenberg, whatever. Yeah, Rutenberg. When he was in with the Jets, he was his position coach at linebacker, and he had his best season. So there was obviously a connection there. I'm sure he was pounding the table to go get him when he found out they weren't going to pay him. I mean, they knew something. So I think it's good signings. I think they still got to address. They got to do this to the receiver room now. You overhaul drop at the line because technically you had to because you don't really have anybody in a contract. So now you need to do this to the receiver room. You can't hang on to the guys of the past anymore. I think the only guys you have to move forward, you have to move forward Jerry Jeudy because you're not going to trade him, and nobody else is going to want him. So I think you have to move forward with him. and you got Isaiah Bond, right? Outside of that, you need that's two guys, and it's really two guys. One guy's a rookie, and the other guy has been a little shaky. So you need really. If it was me, Mike, I need 4 or 5 dual receivers in here. I
Yeah,
need 4. What's that?
I I think you can start with 2, but you definitely need over time. You got to rehaul it, like get another 2 long term guys, maybe in the draft, and then get another one the next year, maybe another vet. Um, Other than trading for one, the market out there isn't looking too good. I mean, you got like Calvin Austin and like
Yeah,
those
but
kinds of guys
I think
flown out there now.
if I can get at least 3, I'm all right. I'll
Yeah,
take 3. If I can draft 2 of them and trade for 1, I'm pretty good. And I can
yeah.
mix that in with what I got with Jerry Judy. And Jerry Judy may get back to what he was in 24. You know, maybe Jerry. I think last year was a bad situation for everybody.
That was horrible. Yeah.
You know, I mean, he was just it was a bad year for everybody. Now he needs to work. He can't drop the ball as much. That's it. I mean, that's the only thing with him. Other than that, he gets open. You know, I mean, Jerry Judy's a great talent. But it's the inconsistency dropping the ball. But you know, I can't blame a lot of that on him last year though, because it was a bad coaching staff, bad system. You know, you had inconsistent quarterback play. You had 2 rookies out there. Like it was just all over the place. That's for a receiver, any player. That's not good stability. So I think he'll bounce back. He has to bounce back because he's got to try to line up for his next contract, or else he'll be a journeyman. So I think with him, and then I like Bond. I like what I saw from Bond. Do I think Bond's a starter? No, but I think he's a guy who could definitely take the top off the defense. I like him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think that's a good
He's
one.
earned a spot on the team. He's earned a starting role in that slot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like Bond. I mean, I think Bond is a solid pickup we got. So you got him. You know, I think go trade for somebody, draft 2 guys. You probably bring back Cedric. Is Cedric Tillman coming back?
No. Wait.
Is he? I don't think he's a free agent, is he?
No, he's not a free agent. He is coming back, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's released.
I think they're gonna try to get one last squeeze out of him. I could be wrong on that, but I think I don't know. I think they'll try. I think I could see them bringing him back. I wouldn't. I think it's time to just move on. The kid's very talented, but he's always had the talent, just the health, and and I don't blame it on. He's not a guy. I don't blame it all on him either, because your guy. He came off a major injury. We drafted him here in 23, and major injury his rookie year, or not his last season in college. Excuse me. And then he walked right into that situation in 24. So that was tough for him too. But I would look at that market, maybe bringing a vet or just somebody who could be solid. I mean, I don't know I got to look at the free agency market who's left, but I'm definitely drafting 2. Preferably like one in the first round, and then I would draft one later on, maybe like a Skylar Bell. He's a guy I like in the mid rounds, or maybe in the high second. There's somebody there that slips. Maybe you like, maybe Chris Bell, or somebody that somebody like that. Those are some of the guys' names I've seen.
No, I love Chris Bell. It's just a matter of will he be able to play next season?
Yeah, that's the thing with his health with him. Talent wise, great, but
Because he's coming off a pretty big injury that he might be out all next year too.
yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing with him is his injuries. Excuse me. But I like a guy like him. Chris Brazel's another guy I think's under the radar.
I might be out on Tennessee receivers for a while. Just me, but
no, I think that kid's. I think he's pretty good. I like him. Malachi Fields, I think could be solid. Jermaine Bernard, I think could be really good. I mean, there's some guys. I mean, you can always find. I mean, even the kid out of Bryce Lance, North Dakota State. I mean, he's got to produce too, big guy. But so you never know. I mean, there's guys you can get. Skylar Bell's a guy like. I think he led the. He was one of the. I think he was high in yak, or if not number 1 this year. But he looks like a true slot. Ran a 4.4 at the combine, so he's a guy I look at. But yeah, man, that's how I would fix the wide receiver room. That's next for me, the wide receiver room. In terms of what else to do offensively, Mike, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna trade for a quarterback. I think that's long gone. I think they entered. I'm sure they called and see what the price would have been from Malik Willis and all that. I think they just did their due diligence. Doesn't mean they were really serious about it. I think the only guy that could really alter them to bring in another quarterback that could challenge Shedeur and Deshaun for quarterback one would be Ty Simpson if they drafted him. But he would have to really blow their socks up. Now, they brought him in on a top 30 visit, and, I think they are definitely, it's a connection there with, Todd Monken and his dad and everything. So Todd spoke highly of him recently. He's the only guy I think they would bring in that could challenge that. Other than that, I think they're either just going to draft a mid-round, late-round guy or sign a older veteran or something like that, or somebody maybe not, or just somebody else. I think Dylan Gabriel's probably going to get traded out of here. Man, who knows? Maybe he'll go to Atlanta. They like Stefanski loves his left-handed quarterbacks that are short. So, other than that, though, man, I think they'll draft a tight end probably, maybe, or sign one.
Probably in the late rounds. There's my pick for them right now in the late rounds for tight end is Eli Stowers out of Vandy. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I like him, and there's some guys even in the later rounds I think are pretty good too. Obviously, you just need somebody to come in and do their job. You already got a stud at tight end, so
right.
I think now you're going to draft your left tackle. Any chance, in your opinion, they go after Trent Williams?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
Zero.
I don't know. The price is probably going to be too high. Because even at age 40, he's still a bad dude.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. I just think they're going to look for a long-term solution there.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, I got to point this out. Bam Adebayo for the Miami Heat just put up 83 points in a game. He broke Kobe's record.
Bam Adebayo?
Bam Adebayo, the center for the Miami Heat, broke Kobe Bryant's 81-point game record.
That's insane.
Yeah, I can't wait to go watch those highlights. That's crazy. Got some comments here for you, professional fan. Shout out to Jeffries in the house. He said, "Wow, we got to get Andrew Barrios credit for fixing the offensive line."
I'm giving him some credit.
Absolutely.
Give him all the credit.
Yeah, where's it at? Let's see here. Give me 1 second. I don't think Jerry Jeudy isn't as bad as people say he is. If he was on the Bills, he would get love.
Yeah, I mean,
his talent, Mike. I just think the drop pass is what I'm more concerned with.
I mean, he went from like top 10 wide receiver when we first traded for him, like that year with us, even though it was a down year. Jerry Jeudy was great, and then to being like just completely suboptimal. I don't know. Maybe it was the system. Maybe it was just a down year. I still think he's gonna get like an opportunity. Like they're not gonna release him. They're gonna see what he's got. And here, even if he's like not great, if he could still get you 500-600 yards, I mean that's still production, But he's not on a crazy contract.
I want to see what he can be with better receivers around him.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, he's got a better tight end. I love David, but this kid's better. Let's just be honest. Harold Fannin's going to be better. And then I want to see him with a better supporting cast around him.
Yeah.
Because imagine it, because all defenses have been keying in on him because he's really the only guy out there that has like that kind of talent that we've had on the receiver room the last few years, right? So
right
now you get a couple guys in there that are some dudes that can help him out a little. That can take some pressure off, where he gets more single coverage. I think he would do really well. I think he's a guy. He's not a number one to me. I think he, as a 2 or a 3, he would really thrive. With less pressure on him, he can just go out there, be himself, just get open, be consistent. I think he can do that and stay healthy. So, yeah, I don't question his talent. It's just the inconsistency, and I think if anybody could benefit from the new coaching staff, it's him. I think he really could benefit from Todd Monken and that coaching staff. If we get a Quentin Johnson draft receiver, I would be happy with that because Quentin Johnson is on the trade block. Your thoughts on Quentin Johnson?
I mean, he's been much better under Harbaugh. Kind of similar problems to Jerry Jeudy, though. Drop issues. Really good route runner. Big dude, can make contested catches. But I don't know if I'm there with him.
That's the TCU kid, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when he came out. Would you rather have him or Brian Thomas?
Brian Thomas.
Now, what's your latest on that with Brian Thomas? What are you hearing there?
That the Jaguars are asking too much, but now people have stopped calling and the price might be going down. So we'll have to see what Andrew's able to do with that, because if the price keeps going down, man, the Browns are gonna swoop in instantaneously. I mean, he's still on a rookie contract. He had an awesome rookie season, and then his second year was so, but like it wasn't even that bad. I just think they're trying to make room for Travis Hunter now that they're gonna shift Travis Hunter into a full-time wide receiver. So
What would you give up for him, Brian
I
Thomas?
give up a second.
Okay. Is there any other receivers out there you think they could be looking at? Somebody's under the radar, nobody's talking about, or something that makes
I thought Olave, but that seems to be like the Saints have no interest in dealing him.
How
And
about I'll go down the Buckeye list here. Garrett Wilson, any chance?
no,
Marvin Harrison Jr.
maybe small.
All right. Let's see here. Isaiah Bond can't be a slot. He doesn't have the route running for that. He's an outside go ball guy. That's all he can do.
He was a pretty good route runner at Texas. I think he has the ability to be a slot. I just don't think he was used properly under Stefanski. He was used as that go route kind of guy. But at Texas, he was great at route running. Actually, he was praised for it coming out of the draft. We'll just kind of have to see how the new coaching staff looks at him and develops him, because he was just used as like a gadget guy and like wasn't utilized properly. I really think he could have had a bigger role if they would have let him.
Yeah, I think he's an outside guy, and I think he's a guy like I agree with Jeffrey. That's what I said earlier. I think he's a guy you put in there, certain packages. You can take the top off. You can run a post, deep post. You can run a go ball. All those intermediate, all those longer routes, intermediate routes that are longer. I think he can run, especially out of play action. So he's a guy though. He gets one-on-one. He could definitely create separation and get a big gain. But he's not a guy. He's not a starter to me. I think he's a guy who's valuable because of what he does, but he's a piece. But he's a piece we need. That's a piece we didn't have in previous years. So at least we got him. Kyler,
Right.
you can get him for the minimum. What do you think of Kyler Murray?
I'm kind of out on Kyler, not gonna lie. I just don't think he's great for the locker room. I'd rather roll with one of the rookies, and then if it doesn't work, just draft a quarterback next year.
Yeah, I gave my take. Kyler Murray is a great talent. I think he's too small though to be a consistent. To be in terms of be a really good NFL quarterback, I think he's just too small. And that's why he's dealt with some injuries and just. But he's a hell of a talent, no doubt about it. And the kid always had talent. But the biggest questions I have with him, Mike, and I've heard this from people who coaching world. I know some people in the coaching world some people even said it publicly, who know Cliff Kingsbury and some of his time there. I mean, talk about leadership off the field. Sounds like allegedly it's non-existent. I mean, there's rumors people didn't even show up. His teammates didn't come to his birthday party and all this crazy stuff. So, he's a guy who doesn't really hang out with his teammates. That you can't do that. I'm not saying to do everything with your teammates, but like you can't be a leader of any team, especially a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, and not do those types of things and not have that relationship with your teammates because they're not going to listen to you when it matters most. You can't sit there and bitch a guy out on the sideline and get light into a lineman or a receiver for not running the route or doing their assignment because they're not going to take you seriously. And you're already 5'9" to begin with, so they're just going to stand up and tower over you, most of them, and say, "Get the hell out of my face." That's what you can't have. And I think there was definitely a lot of disconnect you could tell out there. And I think that's why he's in the position he's in. He's a guy who definitely could bounce back, no doubt about it. I'm curious what situation would be good for him, Mike. It's funny because the only team right now that doesn't really have like a quarterback, like nothing, is Arizona. Like I don't know what Arizona's going to do. We were talking about it yesterday on the phone. Arizona, literally, they have nobody right now. I mean,
Yeah.
and there's nobody they have the third pick. they're not taking Ty Simpson there. That would be way overdrafted. And there's no real free agent, and I mean, Mac Jones, he's in division. I don't know if they're going to trade him in division. So it's like, I don't really know what they do. So it's like funny, like the team that he got released from, they don't have a guy. I mean, they have Jacoby Brissett still, but I mean, he's older. He's, yeah, he put it right here. He's a bridge guy, but I mean, I don't know. What is Jacoby? Is he I don't know. Is this Jacoby from 2022, Mike? I mean,
No,
I think they need a quarterback.
2022 Jacoby was legendary.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's that guy. Maybe he is. I never know. I like Jacoby, great guy, but they don't really have anybody. But I don't know any other quarterback, Mike, that's available, even on the market that they can get. I mean, they're gonna have to draft somebody. So, but where does Kyler go? I don't
Minnesota.
know. Yeah, I've heard that. Minnesota. I think he is better than JJ right now because of just talent and being available. I mean, JJ, I don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back, but now Minnesota, you want to talk about a team that screwed it up. Yeah, they definitely screwed it up with Sam Darnold, but
yeah,
got a little too greedy and that bit him, and they'll always regret that. But yeah, maybe Minnesota. I've heard that too. I've seen that out there, but I'm out on Kyler Murray personally. I think you just rolled what you got, Mike, and let one of those guys win. And they got better coaching now. I would roll with that personally.
Yeah. See what the young kids got.
Young kid. And here, I know a lot of people don't want to say it. I know a lot of people have moved on, but you never know what Deshaun Watson's going to look at with a different coach. And I know Stump Mitchell, who was there, who I had on my show, we've talked about it. I talked about it on his show. We even text. I mean, I text with his guys about it all the time, and him. I mean, he still believes that with Deshaun, with a better coach, he said that he was there, and he said he felt like the coaches failed Deshaun in a lot of ways. So you never know, even with a different coaching staff. And I know Todd Munkin's intrigued with him. You never know. Maybe he could be at least decent. I mean, right now, a lot of people are saying he's the favorite to start. And I've heard that from Scheffner. I've heard that from Daniel Jeremiah. A couple guys have said that nationally. So, I don't know. I think both will play next year, personally, Mike. I think.
Yeah.
Who I think's going to start? I've raised the reports now. Deshaun's going to start, but I don't know. We'll see. He said, "Hey, shout out, Bam. I would rather have Brian Thomas, but Quentin Johnson would be cheaper and he's more of a number 3 guy. Excuse me."
Yeah.
So you'd go with Quentin over Brian?
No. He's saying Quentin Johnson would be cheaper, but he's more of a number 3 guy. I'd overpay for a second round pick to get Brian Thomas Jr., who in my mind is a number 1.
Okay. Dontavian Wicks didn't get a whole lot of playing time with the Packers.
I like Dontavian Wicks.
When he played, he's been productive. You can probably get him for a 5th. So you like him?
Yeah, Dontavian Wicks has always been productive when he's played for the Packers, but just like Jeff said, he just didn't see a lot of playing time because the Packers didn't have like star wide receivers by any stretch of the imagination, but they had a lot of really productive guys.
They had good players out there.
Yeah, so Dontavian Wicks didn't see a lot, and he always looked like a productive wide receiver when he was out there. He's pretty underrated.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they got guys like that. I think a guy too. I don't know if I highly doubt they'll trade him, but Michael Wilson, who we talked about the Cardinals earlier.
I would love Michael Wilson.
That's the guy who I like. You remember I had him high when he came out. We did those mocks on that draft. I said this kid. I kept hearing that kid was something because this guy was T.J. Houshmandzadeh, who trains him for NFL receiver, and he kept talking about this kid Wilson. Man, you got to take him out of Stanford. And I was like, man, that'd be nice. We can get him, but not surprised by what he's produced, but yeah, if we can get a guy like that, that's perfect for us. Let's see. Give me 1 second. He said, maybe if you look up at the Jacoby, or you look at the numbers Jacoby to put up last year, he put up good numbers.
I know there is zero hate in my heart for Jacoby Brissett. I love Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, I'm not hating on Jacoby. Jacoby is solid, but all I'm saying is they still need a quarterback. Like they got to get.
Oh, of course.
Like he's not their future. Like at least the Browns, as bad as their quarterback situation, but they at least have a young guy who they could be their future. You never know. So I think they have something. The Cardinals are the only team, Mike, that don't have anything. Like
yeah.
and I don't know what they can get other than the draft. So, you know,
Maybe they'll
the
draft
Vikings,
Diego Pavia.
yeah. I don't know if I think that's a waste of year one if Todd Monken to see what he can do rolling it with Sanders.
I mean, it depends what he thinks. I just don't know, man. I mean, last year was so bad. Like, it's horrible O line play, no wide receivers, and you're dealing with a rookie quarterback. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
as
I,
far as rookie QB seasons go, it wasn't unusual. I don't know. I know people. I mean, Shedeur Sanders, super polarizing. He's a very polarizing figure. People love him. There are people that dislike him for no reason. And there are people really just trying to share normal opinions on him. I think it's fair to say that he hasn't shown enough to just automatically get the starting job. But I think it's also fair to say that as a starting quarterback, he did show flashes, and like for 7 starts as a rookie, that's not his stats aren't unusual. Like we've seen a lot of starting caliber quarterbacks have a very similar rookie season and have long time success. Really just depends on what Monken thinks and who he wants to roll with. Maybe he likes Shedeur. Maybe he wants his own guy. I don't know.
well, yeah, there's definitely been some controversial Shador reporting the last few days, and I'm sure you saw over the internet. But
Yeah.
that's had people in an uproar. But I mean, here, look, I try to evaluate from my own, 2 cents, whatever that's worth, from the outside looking in. When I watched the tape last year, the kid he showed me enough where I said, okay, you know what, I could roll with this kid in terms of he could possibly. He's not gonna be the only quarterback in my room. I'm not saying he's my day one starter, but he's a guy who I saw enough from him and the confidence where I say, you know what, I can roll with this kid. And let me get a different coach in here who's a proven quarterback developer, Todd Monken, right? Let me get some better alignment in here, get some better receivers, hopefully, get a better whole staff, a whole fresh start, clean slate for everybody, right? I got a bad dude at tight end and Harold Fannin. I got another bad dude in Quinshon Judkins, right? I got some studs around him, some playmakers. I got a guy in Jerry Judy who maybe I can get something out of him if I get some better support out there with the receiver I'm with them, or make him a lesser role. It's, I think he'll produce, or could. But anyways, so I fixed all the surrounding things, right? And now I can basically redevelop him. Because I think that's what Todd Monken's going to do. I think that's why, honestly, why you're seeing Deshaun Watson that could start from day one reports is I think Todd Monken is just going to want to start from scratch with Shedeur Sanders. You learned a lot of lessons last year, but we're going to start from scratch because last year was a mess for everybody involved. And, honestly, I've said this before. I don't think Shedeur. I think Shedeur, if you look at Colorado after he left, how the program offensively, especially, was that bad last year. I don't think, I know what was the offensive coordinator's name? He used to be the Browns head coach. In
Oh,
Colorado. Fuck was his name?
um,
What was his name? Damn, somebody put it in the chat. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. He's the former offensive coordinator. He's not an offensive coordinator there anymore, but he was the Pat Shermer.
Shermer, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there was good development going on out there, Mike. I'm just gonna be honest.
I
Like,
agree.
I think he was underdeveloped coming in the NFL, and it wasn't his fault. I mean, I think he obviously played for his dad. You know what I mean? I think I don't see a lot of development out there. Period. And don't you can I know some people are Colorado fans may not like that. Although a lot of them do agree because I mean the program's kind of been in a mess, especially this offseason. So I think, especially with the DC now, just left for a lesser role in the NFL. So, and Sapp left, all these guys left. And I think the problem out there, Mike, when you have a coaching staff, just because you have a gold jacket doesn't mean you're a good coach.
Right.
So, and I think that's what they had a lot of out there. There wasn't a lot of development. It was more of just showcase and, helping out my buddy and everything. But anyways, I think when he came in the NFL, he was behind in some areas. And I think he had to learn that, which he did last year. I think he realized a lot of things probably. And he even said, he really grew a lot and, learned a lot about himself. And just, I think as a player, he probably learned a lot. He sat with the coach, went over film studies a lot. And I think Shedeur understands what it's going to take. So, I think he knows now in his mind, he knows he can go out there and produce now. He's done it and he did it in flashes. He knows he can go out there and be a playmaker. Or as Todd Monken said, he could be, what do you say, an elite playmaker was his words?
Yeah, he said elite playmaker. He sees ability in the kid.
Yeah, I mean, he knows he can do it. When he got a shot, I think he was better than the previous guy. So I think there's something there you work with, right? I think he just needs a little more time and development. But that position, like any other position in any sport, takes more time and development than any other position. It's the quarterback position. You have to really have a good foundation of a coach, a plan, good offensive line, or decent at least, and have a real direction and structure for this kid. Last year I know that was real controversial, and some people I tend to agree with even said that wasn't a big of a deal. It's typical that guys don't throw to ones in camp and all that, which I get that, but they even said that he was going to play last year, and they didn't. In my opinion, they just didn't manage that properly.
Correct.
And number one, you didn't manage when you brought in 2 rookie quarterbacks you draft in the same draft. That alone is just crazy in itself. But I think that's why you're going to see Deshaun probably. You're hearing he's the starter week 1 because Deshaun, as bad as he was when last time he was out there, he still has a lot of experience in the NFL. Yes, it's been a long time, but Deshaun still understands the game. And I think Deshaun, if he gets healthy and gets a little confidence back, maybe go out there and be decent, or just give time, be the bridge put Shedeur in there. But I think that's what Todd Monken's doing. I think Todd Monken just wants to redevelop Shedeur. Redevelop the development from last year.
Right.
And really before that, even I think he came in just a little undeveloped. I think some areas he showed his raw talent, but I think there's areas he still needs maturing in and growing in with just a real quarterback guy. And I think that's what he has now with Todd. And Todd believes in the kid. They're taking pictures together with that little horse thing that he got him, and so I think you roll with what you got there, and I think they're playing the long game. Next year is a show me what you are for both guys. Because if not, they feel pretty good, Mike. I think about the next year's draft of getting a quarterback if that's what they choose to do.
I mean, Dante Moore is out there. You got
Dante, you got Arch Manning, you got Lenore Sellers, and whoever
Lenore
else.
Sellers.
So
yeah, Arch Manning's at the bottom of that list, but
you think? I mean, Arch Manning looked pretty good his last game. I think Arch Manning will be up there next year, but again, next year's class is a lot better. So, like if Fernando Mendoza was in next year's class, if those guys pan out the way they should, he may be the 4th guy on the board. So that's but it's a what. But you know what I'm saying. So again, I think they're playing the long term, right? I think their ultimate goal is to have a legit contending team going into 29. For that stadium. Doesn't mean I'm not saying they're going to shit the bed the next 3 years. What I'm saying is they're building a team to where by that year they're already, like everybody says, that they can win a division every year, maybe be the favorite and compete for a championship. I think that's what their goal is, because you got to build momentum for going into that stadium, especially with those PSL prices. My gosh, it's a whole house and car payment. So, you can put your kids in private school, you could buy a house. You can release a car, Mike, with all the PSL money they're charging for that. So, yeah, that's nuts. But I think that's their plan. I think they're playing the longer game, and I think this year is more just show me what you got. The only guy, again, I think could blow their socks off if he does, that could change their mind, is Ty Simpson, if they feel comfortable enough to go get him. And I think Monken would have to be the one to push that a little bit. But I don't get that vibe. I think right now, Mike, they're looking at let's get a left tackle and let's get a receiver, and that's what we're doing in the first round.
I agree.
Because you look at the 2 voids they haven't filled yet, left tackle and receiver. Well, where can they fill that? First round. So they have 2 first-round picks. Shedeur Sanders, excuse me, my biggest issue with him is he holds on to the ball too long. He does not like throwing checkdowns, and he was missing wide open receivers in front of him.
Yeah. And 2, he held on to the ball a little too long. I'll agree with that. You're going to get that with the guys that like to try and make plays. Like, that's just an unfortunate sin that comes with it. I mean, you look at Joe Burrow. I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders is Joe Burrow. I'm just using him as an example. Joe Burrow holds on to the ball too long. Aaron Rodgers held on to the ball too long. Like, it's just when they have that kind of confidence and the playmaking ability with their feet, that's just something that naturally comes along with it. Do I love how many sacks he'll take? No. Do I love the like explosive plays that can generate? Yes. It's just trying to find the happy medium, and hopefully with better coaching, he finds that.
Well, I think it's something he's gonna have to break out of. I think it's just a habit because he's a gunslinger, number one, but also you look at, and again, I go back to college, the development just wasn't there to me.
Yeah.
When you have a guy like Travis Hunter who you can just air it out to all the time, and he's gonna beat Travis Hunter, he's a freak. So I mean, in college, especially in the Big 12, a lot of guys he was going up against a DB, he was gonna outjump 95% of them. So,
Right.
you know, that was easy to do that. He can improvise there. But then also too, I think he had a bad offensive line too, and they had to try to, you know, make splashes here and there to try to stay in those games. And I think it's just a habit he developed. Just trying to look for looking for the home run every play.
Right.
Kind of that's what Brett Favre was. He played. He even said it. He goes, my he goes, my mindset was home run on every play. So the Brett Favre also had a once in a lifetime type of arm too. So, but I think it's just a habit and a mindset. I think it's something he could definitely work on, and I think I think by now he knows if he wants to be successful in the NFL, you have to take what looks like boring completions. Those add up to winning games and winning you a job. So, those checkdowns sometimes can turn into big plays. I mean, I look at the check down he threw, or was that a swing pass he threw to he threw a shorter pass last year to Dylan Sampson in his first game, and
Swing pass.
it turned into a 70-yard gain. So like you got to just trust your coaching, and I think now with Monken, you got to trust your guys, trust going through your progress, just trust yourself and trust your teammates and trust the game or the game plan, and just play good smart football. Like you don't need to force anything. You're in the NFL now too, so you got the best players in the world around you every game. So I think that's just something he's going to have to learn out of. That's why I wanted Geno Smith, because him and Shedeur, excuse me, has a similar play style, and he could have learned a lot from Geno Smith. Where did Geno go?
New York, back to where he started.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean you got Geno. I mean they could have had Geno. I mean, but I don't know. I think he learned a lot last year, Mike, from Flacco, and I think he learned a lot from Deshaun. He saw him and Deshaun really communicating a lot, and Deshaun helping him out during the games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know him and Gino are actually friends in real life too, so maybe they talk about ball all the time or stuff. But 83 points from Bam Adebayo, Mike. That's crazy. Tyson, the reason his number is dipped all the time, half the year, is because, or all the second half, or the reason his number. Let me reread this. I'm sorry. I got so many texts coming in right now. Tyson, the reason his number is dipped all the second half of the year is because he was getting beat up and he didn't have much help at receiver. Yeah, he was hurt. I didn't realize and I don't think people knew how injured he was, because before he got hurt, I thought he was possibly number one in the damn a whole draft coming out. I thought his game translated the best to the NFL, and I still like the kid a lot. I'm very high on him still. I think I didn't realize how hurt he was. I don't think anybody did. He talked about it recently. At one point, all he could eat during the season was chicken noodle soup. I mean, he was pretty banged up.
Yeah.
He lost like almost 30 pounds. So yeah, I think anybody would not play as well because your body, and the fact that he still went out there and was hanging in some of those games and won some of those games, made it to the playoffs. I mean, I think that's just a testament to the kid. He's a tough dude. He's a pretty good ball player. I think whoever gets Ty Simpson, I think is going to get a steal. I like the kid a lot. Now, would I take him all the way up at 6? No, but again, I think he would have to really blow the Browns away. But if I'm somebody like the Cardinals, hey, I take that kid. Let him maybe sit behind Jacoby and then put him out there. I think you got something maybe there.
Yeah.
Last one here we got. Yeah, Deshaun Watson used to in interviews break down defenses in detail during his press conference, so he has a good mind for football. Yeah, and I think that's why when you see his reports, Mike, about him being the possibly the lead guy, I think that's kind of, he just has a little more experience. He's a veteran, At one point, he was an all-world talent, So I I truly don't believe he just forgot everything. I think if he can get healthy with a different coaching staff, can he at least become serviceable? I think he has a chance.
He could. I'm not holding my breath on that one, but
his life's a lot different now. He's married, a little more settled down. Like, I don't know. You never know. Now, I think Shedeur should have. I'll tell you one thing though I like better with Shedeur is I like that he was present in the building when the coach was, introduced.
Yeah.
I like that. So that's just me. Maybe I'm being a little too picky. But well, TPF, you got any final thoughts on your show tonight?
Folks, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Professional Fan. We will be back as free agency continues to chug along. We're going to get into some draft analysis here soon. Break that down as soon as free agency kind of settles down, dips down a little bit. But stay tuned. Much more to come.
Absolutely. Like, subscribe, show the good stuff. And I'm going to take up out of here. Mike, you take it away.
Thank you guys once again so much for watching The Professional Fan. As always, folks, please stay professional.